Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all figuring out how to peace out, right? Enjoying the process. I'm actually enjoying the process of learning how to just trust God with each little and really big thing, right? It is a process, but progress is progress. That's been my mantra for 15 years now. Progress is progress. So if we're trusting Him just a little bit faster, taking things to Him in prayer just a little bit faster, they're doing a good job. Keep it up, right? Because it's all about just learning how to trust Him more quickly with anything that gets put on our plate. And we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit today. I did put the link up for my Amazon bookstore, which is growing. The Affirmations for Caregivers is now available on Kindle, ebook on my Does Our Ministry bookstores, or print, so you can get it any way you want on whichever way you would like to enjoy that little devotion. If you're, especially if you're a caregiver, I'll tell you this: it's pretty good for you if you're not a caregiver, but it's specifically for caregivers. But you would enjoy it even if you're not a caregiver. It's because it's just reading those affirmations, just reminding ourselves that God loves us, reminding ourselves that He's with us, reminding ourselves, and that leads me right to what we want to talk about today. Psalm 23. I heard this statement yesterday. I'm trying to think who was preaching or who I was listening to or something like that. And they brought up Psalm 23. I can't remember right this second. It doesn't really matter. But they brought up the 23rd Psalm and they talked about goodness and mercy. And so it got to me to thinking about it. So I started thinking about it and I was like, Psalm 23 says this: surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. Verse 6, all the days. That means on my good days, I've still got God's goodness and God's mercy. On my bad days, I still got God's goodness and His mercies, right? There's nothing. God doesn't say, okay, I'm off on Sundays, I'm still resting. He doesn't say this day's too complicated for me, I can't figure it out either. He doesn't say I don't work on holidays, right? He doesn't say, okay, you got this. Okay, I'll be back later. No, His goodness and His mercy is with us every single day. I love that. But before we get too much deeper into that, I just took this morning and just really read back over Psalm 23 and something stood out to me. This is my plug for reading, because when you read it again, you'll see it with new eyes because you've gone through different situations. You'll have a new perspective. And here's the Psalm 23. We're really familiar with it, right? We read it at funerals, we read it at probably weddings. We read it on things we don't understand when we're trying to trust God more. And that's good. That's good. It's good. Read it, right? But it's real familiar. The Lord is my shepherd. I don't lack anything. I shall not want. He makes me lay down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. And He does all these things, right? Not necessarily literally, but figuratively. He does take us to places where we can lie down and eat, or where we can rest, where we can restore our souls. He does lead us beside still waters where we can get a drink, right? He does restore our souls. Boy, does He do that. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. And then the psalmist switches. He's still talking first person. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And listen to this switch right here. For you are with me. See, he's been saying, God's done this, God's doing this, God's doing that. But now all of a sudden he's reminding himself, even if I go through really difficult times, you are with me. He's changed his whole perspective. He's been saying God does this and God does that and God's so wonderful, and that's a good thing to do. That's praising God. That's thanking Him, right? But then he switches and says, "You are with me." He reminds himself, "If I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Do you need to remind yourself today that God is with you? No matter how good the day's going, no matter how bad the day's going, no matter how dull the day's going, it doesn't matter. God is with you. And we talk about that some here because we talked about how God doesn't have the capacity to leave us. He literally can't go somewhere away from you because He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. He can't leave you. And so the psalmist is walking through this, David is, and all of a sudden he shifts and says, "You're with me. God has done this, He's done this, He's restored my soul, but you are with me." Then he says, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. His rod and staff helps guide and direct and pull him from the ledge when he needs to be pulled from the ledge. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. So he shifted that perspective, right? Then he says this, surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That just means we can spend every day with God. We've got his goodness and his mercy. We know his mercies are new every single morning. We talk about that a lot, right? That his mercies, when we got up this morning, see, God didn't get up this morning. He's always up. He does not sleep. He doesn't slumber. That's Psalm 121. He doesn't go to sleep and go, oh, let me see, what's on my plate for the day? Who have I got to watch out for today? No, he watches us even when we sleep. And if you're a parent, there's nothing quite as special and precious as watching that baby sleep, right? They're just cute, right? When they're grown, they're not as cute, but you still just watch them sleep because they're resting. And God even watches us sleep. That's how connected he is with us. That's how engaged he is in our day. When we wake up, he's already ready. He's got goodness and mercy for today. His mercies are new for our mornings. God doesn't have mornings, remember. So his mercies are new. He has grace enough for today. It's not going to run out. It didn't run out in 2023. It didn't run out in 2020 when the world went crazy. It didn't run out anytime. You can't pinpoint any time in history or any time in the future where God's mercy and goodness and grace isn't going to be there, right? So I encourage you today to do two things. One, remind yourself and tell God, I know you are with me. I know you're with me. And that reminds you too that God is with you. And just know that you have the goodness and mercy, grace and peace and love and whatever you need for this day, God will meet you with it. Right? So just, even if you're by yourself, you can say it out loud. God, I know you're with me. I know I've got your goodness. I know your mercy's chasing me every single day of my life. And that's why we can peace out, right? Because he's got us. Peace out. Have a great day. I'll see you again tomorrow.